need. Homegrown. And nothing that I don't. Homegrown. It's the way that you carry from the things you think you want. It's the way that you carry from the things you think you ways you carry on. It's the way that you carry from the things you think you want. I got everything I need, nothing that I don't. Everything I need, nothing that I don't.
really improve during the middle of the season. And Victor obviously has more experience and has made the adjustment. But those guys continue to work hard. They have great attitudes. They've been good leaders for us, and if they continue to do that, we should see some good improvement from both of those guys, and what would be game 1 up through game 5 or 6.
What you want to do offensively, how key are those two tackle outposts, I guess, on the edges to help both pass protection and run?
In college football, the defensive ends have gotten so much bigger and stronger, and they're really active, and in the run blocking on those wide ends, and certainly protecting the quarterback for everybody pretty much. No matter what your offense is, you've got to be able to hold those guys off, and it's very important. We went through a phase last year where we were real average at those positions, and it makes it difficult to move the football.
When you look at how Mason has progressed since the spring, is there an area or two that stands out the most to you?
Well, in the last 2 or 3 practices, he's been good with getting the ball in the hands of the players that the defense is allowing us to take advantage of offensively. And I think that's the most important part of his progress in his second year. He'll make some plays. He's going to make some mistakes, but he needs to minimize those by not trying to make too many big plays. Just take what they give him.
Are there some not so obvious guys that are starting to get your attention, Mike?
Oh, there's guys that are making plays out there. We've got a couple freshmen that have shown up and made a play or two. Carr's making some plays. Michael Hunter, we knew about him. He's older. He's showing up and making some plays. The times I've watched him, he seems to be playing really fast. So I look at the list here. Blake Jarwin, you guys obviously know about him, but he's shown up and made some plays. Dylan Harding's running around better. We had to play him as a freshman last year, and he was 178 pounds. Now he's 190. I like what he's doing out there. So there'll be some guys. The biggest jump, takes place from that 10 to 20 in that area there, practice-wise.
You mentioned Carr a couple of times earlier this week and just now. Is he a guy that you can see, whether it's returning kicks or whatever, making an impact? I mean, it seems like when you signed him, he was small and just automatically, a lot of us might have thought redshirt candidate. But
and I think most people thought with his size that he would be a guy that would redshirt. But as he progresses up through the next 8 or 10 practices, if he's able to absorb information and function out there with the team, stay healthy, and give you the ability to make a big play, then you have to look at putting him out there. And we'll know a lot more in a week or so, but up to this point, he's doing fairly well.
Mike, talk a little bit about team leadership, and it's got to be different with a young quarterback that's just coming into his own. And how do you go about developing team leadership?
Mason's still real young, as you mentioned, but he's pretty far along in a leadership role for his youth. Crabtree, Ryan Simmons, Shepard, even Washington, Seaton, Ogbaugh, Seth, Peterson, Lampkin, those guys. It takes everybody to carry the group. It's obviously important that your quarterback is a player that can help lead, but unlike last year where we had so many young players that hadn't had a lot of experience and success, like even as good as Ogbaugh was last year when we started the year, he wasn't really in that role. He was somewhat unknown. And so we've got a number of guys now that have stepped up and are allowing us to have a good team chemistry and are helping lead the team.
Go ahead.
Talk a little bit just about the high points of what you expect out of those guys to call them a team leader.
Well, just their practice habits, the way they communicate with the players, their attitude in the locker room, over at the apartments where they live, in the training table. Those guys have to do a good job when the coaches aren't around, and that's really important. And when you have an extremely young football team that's not experienced, they don't know how to lead themselves at times, much less others. And so that's really where we expect them to help us with the team. As coaches, we're going to push them hard and try to put them in situations that are not comfortable, and they have to react in the right way and accept that responsibility, and making sure the team understands that if you stay the course and you buy in, then good things are going to happen to everybody in our team. That's really what we expect from guys that are trying to lead.
Along the lines of what he's asking, Mike, I saw you went over and talked to Zach Robinson and his family. He was at practice day. Bill Haston did the story this summer. Both your top two quarterbacks, Mason and J-Dub, went down and worked with Zach at his academy now in Dallas. What's your comfort level? Because they're going to work with a guy who's been in their shoes. Does that help?
I think so. That certain former players have the ability to teach and instruct and coach, in my opinion. I think there's a number of people out there that really aren't fit for the development of young people that are at this level. There's a considerable difference in training J.W. Walsh compared to training a 10-year-old. And Zach is a self-made player. He was, I don't know if we had stars back then, but he wouldn't have been much more than a 2-star. And he had come in and worked hard, and he maximized his potential and was a student of the game. He was very intelligent. And so he can pass that on. And I think it's beneficial for our players to be around a former player like Zach, who will do it for all the right reasons.
Mike, when you bring in a large number of new offensive assistants, how has Mike Yurcich done in taking all their different backgrounds and their ideas and kind of blending it all together? And is that a difficult job to do?
Well, it can be difficult, but we have a philosophy that I guess I believe in here, and Mike bought in. And so we're getting input from them within our system. And our terminology changes some each year, but the philosophy is the same based on where we think our strengths are. We will try to play to Mason's ability and then find out what our options are at the running back position and with wideouts and Seaton and Jarwin, and then try to manufacture as much as we can with that group. And I haven't, in fact, I'm almost sure we haven't had any issues with too much information coming in. And he has been a good manager of personnel in the room because there's been some turnover. And that's not the easy situation to be in, but I think he's done a really nice job up to this point.
This is going to be the first year in a number of years where you don't have that inside receivers coach. Is there a benefit to having all those guys under one voice, one leader in Casey Dunn?
You would like to have two coaches, but we also would like to have somebody that coaches the Cowboy back. And so we had to make a decision on where we were at. And Casey's been here a number of years now. And so I guess I'm comfortable with him handling that position. And then I felt it would be an advantage for us to have somebody with the Cowboy back that is involved in more of the interior of the offense. And I thought we had lost that perspective a little bit. So we felt like it was a step up for our offense to have an inside guy and then let Casey handle the outside players. If he hadn't been here so long, we may not have made that adjustment.
Does this defense have a chance to be the best since your time here?
If we can get good defensive tackle play, we're not very experienced at that position. If we have some young guys contribute, and Vince and Mote can hold their own in there and develop. If we stay healthy, the depth that we have will allow us to play with a lot of speed, which in most cases it means more turnovers. And we do have experience at those positions now compared to what we were out there with young players. So we have a chance to be pretty good on defense. We should be able to run, and we have guys that are experienced tacklers. So I'm really excited about watching them play, and their practices and their aggressiveness has been good up to this point.
How much does it help have the defensive ends and the corners you have?
Well, it's a big time bonus for us. For the first time, we're too deep at the corner spot, and with Ogbaugh, I would think that there'll have to be some adjustments made on offense to know where he's at on the field. We have to when we compete against him in practice. We have to know where he's at. So unless the teams that we're playing are a lot better at tackle than we are, in most cases they have to identify him, be aware of where he's at on the field, which means the other guys are going to get single blocks most of the time. So that's an advantage when you have an end like him that can make plays. And Jimmy Bean's been around forever and is bigger, and his attitude's been great over the last year. And so he should be able to contribute on the other side.
Mike, at the Caribbean the other night and today, I spoke with people about the Bedlam punt return and me know the impact of it. And this being your 25th year of OSU football, how do you define that play? I mean, it seems like, at least in my mind, there's the Rashawn Woods touchdown at Norman, and then there's the punt return. In terms of plays that had great meaning at the moment, but had value that extended way beyond that. How do you define and remember that?
Well, I would agree with that. Those two plays, we talk about games or series or players, but those two plays had a big impact on our football team and Oklahoma State with playing down there with Woods and being big underdogs, and then obviously with Tyreek making a big play at the end. And so they're huge plays for us. I don't think there's, I'd be crazy to stand up here and say anything else. And they did a lot for the mental aspect of our team, as you know, and lifted a lot of people's spirits and changed demeanor and attitude, and were obviously big-time football plays for Oklahoma State football.
But in the 10 or 12 seconds from the time maybe the punt was kicked until he hit the end zone, I mean, what was that experience like for you? And were you too busy looking for flags to really kind of savor the moment,
Well, at first I was hoping that he could somehow get the ball in his hands, and then crossed me up a little bit when he caught it on the other side of the field. So then I started looking for some sort of what I would call a lead blocker to get him started. And then when he broke free, I had a really good feeling he could go because obviously he's so fast. And then you start looking for flags, and from that point on, then we just started talking about getting a stop and playing defense and overtime.
Does it change or add anything to fall camp when you know that game one is a true road game?
Not really. The Thursday night game adjusted our schedule a couple days, but because we're traveling a little further than what we're accustomed to, we'll leave a few hours earlier on that Friday prior to that game, or now it would be on Wednesday prior to that game. But for the most part, it won't change what we do.
Mike, next week is the last week of camp because you'll have school starting on the 17th. There's three two-a-day days I think you've got on practice plan. If the heat stays the way this is, will you come out of this camp feeling, not that you don't feel they're in shape now, but feeling pretty good maybe about their mental toughness against the weather, and they're going to get tested this week?
They're holding up really well. We have an advantage with our facility. We have them outside, and we really push them to the limit, and then we bring them inside and finish practice. Myself and Coach Glass and Kevin and the medical staff and Bill Clay and Darryl Wyatt and some guys that are watching practice, we're trying to keep an eye on the players and get a good feel for where they're at. And, we have the GPS system involved now where we're tracking them, and we can get a feel for where their bodies are. So we're using the indoor, and the advantage we have, I think the question you're getting to is we're going to have enough heat to push them to the limit. You know, we've had some two-a-days or some preseason practices before where it was a little cooler than we wanted because we weren't sure we could push them. But this is allowing us to push them and then bring them back inside and revitalize them with fluids and things. So I'm really happy with where we're at. We've got 2 more days of this, and then it's going to drop down into the low 90s, which will be fine. Because if it gets down there and it's a little cooler, we can just leave them outside longer. We now have that flexibility with our indoor facility.
Mike, being that you bring back a more experienced core on offense, are you hoping to get your tempo back up to where it used to be when you were going really fast? And do you have a number of plays per game that you kind of want to aim for?
Well, we'd like to play the entire game that way. And we should be able to play faster now that we're more experienced. Quarterback has a better feel for it. Our offensive line played as big a role of that as any last year, because if you go fast and they're confused in what they're doing, then it doesn't look very good. So we should be able to play faster. And our goal is to get 80 plays in a game, and if things go well and we're hitting on all cylinders and our scheme is good, then we'll hit 90.
It's a small sample size with Mason, but his ability to extend the play by shaking off a tackle or sidestepping a defender seems to be a point of strength with him. How important is that, and how much have you seen him maybe develop in that area?
Well, he's done a good job of it in the 3 games he's played, and he was doing that at 218 pounds, and he's 228 now, so he's obviously stronger and a little more experienced. And what I hope for is that he continues that, because that's not really something you can coach. Guys can either escape and get away or make a play, or they can't. So hopefully he'll continue to do that.
There was a lot of talk during bowl prep and then again during the spring about the momentum that you got from that game in Oklahoma, and then what you got in bowl. You said you felt like throughout spring you could still sense it, and that you were still getting benefits from it as it carried through all the way to now.
Sure. It's, we live in the age of technology and media resource and internet, and there's so much communication that the advantage of when things are going good, it just continues to carry on. And the world we live in with phones and the information that the players get, and our fans like that are here today at Fan Day, they all have apps, and they get, every time there's information that comes out about a player or us as coaches or our team, it comes up on their phone, and so it makes them feel better. And that's carried over, and there's just a good attitude among the team and the people involved with Oklahoma State football, and I think all the fans.
You played a number of true freshmen last year out of necessity, some of it. For a variety of reasons, looks like your depth's better at positions. Is there any temptation to maybe redshirt some of those guys that played last year now?
Sure. We've talked about that. And until we get up until that last week, we won't plan on that. But if we get to the last week and we have a young man that we used his freshman year, and he's behind a couple of veteran guys, and his numbers could be limited, then we wouldn't burn him on special teams and use him at a point in the game where he may be able to get that year back, which would help him from a maturity standpoint and would help us. And those discussions have taken place, sure.
What are those discussions like? Because if a guy's played as a freshman, he probably wants to play as
Sure. It's us being honest with them, and that they didn't really get that year to develop. What you lose with a young man that doesn't redshirt in his freshman year is he loses that extra time in the weight room, because during the season he's trying to get ready to play in a game, and so he can't devote himself to 4 to 5 days of heavy workloads. His physical workload is limited based on getting ready to play on Saturday, and there's a point where that can almost become a necessity for a college football player to get that extra workload during their time. Doesn't always happen that way, but it's beneficial, and so we're just honest with them. And if a player just said, hey, I want to play, then we're going to play him, because ultimately it's their career. But we would offer our opinion on what we think's best.
In talking to Robbie Disher, I know you're trying to replace a punter, and you're looking at return guys, obviously, which I know might be a concern. But Disher pointed out that so many of those guys that are coming back that played on the cover units and the return units. How do you see that boosting your special teams play, that you got the guts, so to speak, of your special teams coming back?
I thought Robbie did a great job last year of coaching special teams. We ended up really high in our league with a lot of young players, and sometimes he would play in a unit on that week with 7 or 8 freshmen. That's hard to do. And so those guys now are mature. And we went over our special teams depth chart. We're going to go over it again in the morning. We'll do it again in a week based on which freshmen we think may actually play, so we can start working them in and getting them some reps in at least one unit of special teams. And we should be better because we have experienced players. And when you have the youth, there's risk. And when you have the experience that we have on those coverage units and return units, they understand, because there's an art to playing special teams. There's guys that have been really good special teams players because they have a feel for it, and they put the time in, and they understand, and taking good angles and walling off a defender and all the little things that are important. And so those guys that had reps last year certainly should be better this fall.
At what point did you really start to kind of recognize the value of grad transfers? Was it immediate for you, or was it after you started getting a couple of those guys going?
Obviously, Tyler Patman did a lot of things for us. And so we realized that if you bring in a player, and I wouldn't know how you would rate it. Let's just say we're rating a player from 1 to 10. And in somebody's opinion, when Tyler came out, if he was a 5, if he comes into our program and he's successful and he feels good about himself and the attitude's good, we can make him a 7 just from that transformation. We're all that way. That's the way we are about everything we do in life. And so then he came in and started playing and got really good, and he was smart, and he started playing multiple positions. Obviously, he's still in camp with the Cowboys now. So he really helped our football team. And at that point, we realized the importance of experience. We've all known that experience is key to a good football team, but now you bring a young man in that's done 2 things. 1, he's played a considerable amount of games in his career at another school. 2, he's already graduated from college. So he's disciplined enough to get to class and graduate, then there's something to be said about him. So we realized that was important. Then we bring Furman in, and it was good for us. And then, we were contacted by Hunter. We get contacted by a lot of people now. And so I guess that's a long answer for the experience, and them already being mature enough to graduate gives them a chance to play at this level quicker than a younger player. But you have to have a scholarship. You have to have the numbers and fit the 85 and the NCAA's restrictions and all that. So it's not like you can just bring in a number of them. But if they fit, they're willing to come in and jump in. And our team does a good job of bringing them in and not making them feel like they're an outsider. And so they kind of jump in and do real well early.
So you said 10 years ago you wanted to have the best lifestyle in college football.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what if in your mind you achieved that, or obviously you're a lot closer now than you were 10 years ago. But is that a big part of what might attract transfer?
Yes.
Is the reputation in that regard?
When you look at what our players have here, and in recruiting, you guys follow it and you see it. Most schools that we play against are building new facilities. Things are new now. Everybody's upgrading. Cost of living's involved. But for us, we have everything in place, and we have a setting where there's coaching and teaching going on, And we understand that we want the players to enjoy their 4 years or 5 years here. We want them to have fun. And we're trying to do everything we can to benefit them when they leave here and not feel like that I was miserable for those 4 years and I'm glad I'm gone. And it's no different than when we were growing up and in elementary and junior high and high school and playing sports or going to class, and we have kids and they have some teachers that are excited about going in and learning, and some teachers they don't want to be around because they give them the impression that it's not fun. So we've tried to create that environment here where our players enjoy it and they have that great everyday college lifestyle. And our administration here, you know, one thing with Coach Holder, and he's always done, is we don't cut any corners when it comes to taking care of our athletes. We maximize every little thing that we can to make their lifestyle better. So we've come a long way in 10 years in developing a great lifestyle for a college football player and student athlete.
So you had a run of 6 years with a back who ran for at least 1,200 yards. Now you got Chris Carson in here as the newcomer of the year in the league. So is 1,200 the standard for the Oklahoma State #1 tailback, or do you not pay attention to that kind of?
Well, I think there's two ways to look at it. A running back can have a good year and not get very many opportunities based on the way they play us. So it's like defensive statistics. And I've said this 2 or 3 or 4 years, and I keep thinking somebody's going to grab it and run with it. They still put up on the TV screen yards per game and average per play or whatever that is, and it's completely opposite of what it should be defensively in statistics. It should be points allowed per possession. And I'm going to get to your answer, but it's like our defense. When we were rolling here offensively in those years, our defensive coaches and our team were facing about 16 or 17 possessions a game. And there's teams in the league, in other leagues, that are only facing 10 or 11 or 12 possessions. So obviously they have a better chance to score points against us than they do against them. Well, it's the same thing with a running back. We struggled last year because of our yards per attempt. I don't know, it ended up like 3.6 or something? 3.5. Okay. So it made me feel worse. But it needs to be up around 5. So the number of times that we attempt to run the ball, if it's around 5, then we're going to be successful. And in most cases, with the balance in our offense and the way it should happen, we'll have a guy or guys that will combine to rush up there around that number. And really, that's kind of the way we look at it.
I mean, how do you feel about Carson having that distinction? And that, I don't know if it's pressure on him because I haven't talked to him about it. I don't know.
You know, he's done really well up to this point. It's way too early. You know, and I mentioned it the other day, and so I'm kind of repeating myself, but Coach Jones used to always say this. We'll talk about him after they've been in 12 or 15 practices in 100 degrees and they've been hit a bunch. Then come and ask me if they can be a running back. Up to now, he's doing good. He's able to absorb information, put it out there in a live setting. He's been hit some, but not a lot. He's been, you know, we haven't pushed him like we're going to push him over the next 10 practices, and we'll see where he's at. He is quick. He does have good feet. And he does have acceleration.
I mean, for what you want, I got to look like in that position.
Yeah, I want to look like him. Have you seen him? Huh?
Have I seen him?
Yeah. I want to look like him, don't you? Yeah. That's what you want to look like. And if he continues on, then what it'll help is it's going to make Rennie better, and it's going to keep Rennie fresh, you know. And then we got to come up with that third back, whether it's Raymond or it's Jeff or whoever it is. And that's what we've done here in the years that we were really good, and that's what we need to accomplish this season.
Like,
you had an offensive line that was inexperienced last year, and you lose 2 seniors from that group. How do you see them coming back this year just as a group in terms of, you know, you got a bunch of guys who got that game experience. How do you see that?
Well, you know, earlier we talked about Victor at left tackle, and obviously he hadn't played here, but he's played in a number of college football games, and he's got some talent. So he should help us. Lundblade, who we played last year, that was not ready to play, but played for us, has that experience and is bigger now. He's 295 pounds, I think, somewhere in that area. They had him at, well, he's actually up to 310. And then Paul Lewis can play a guard and center spot for us, so he has some experience now. And then we have Crabtree back, that played for us. He missed 4, 5, 6 games during the year, and that really set us back. But he's an experienced player now. And we have Jesse's back in there that played a little bit in the end. Mike Wilson's in there. These are all guys that last year were just thrown in the fire. Now they at least have some experience, and so it gives us a head start on trying to find 7 linemen. We feel like you have to find 7 linemen that can play in order to have a good season and protect your quarterback and give yourself a chance.
Earlier this week, Mike, you put those guys on scholarship, the walk-ons.
Mm-hmm.
When we talked to them, they hadn't phoned home or anything yet. Have you gotten any good feedback from parents?
Sure.
Yeah, what's that like?
Well, it's good. I mean, we all like to give things away, and as a coaching staff, when we have an opportunity to reward those guys from the parents, and all of a sudden now they don't get a tuition bill, they don't get a housing bill, now food, we take care of them now. The NCAA's allowed that, but it's like you still get to do it, and you don't get a bill in the mail, I guess, every month, and so. It's a lot of fun, and I think we're gonna have 1 or maybe 2 left to give before school starts. But we'd have to wait and see how things fall. But it's great feedback from the parents. But they've earned it. The ones that get it, they've earned it. Those guys that put their time in and they've earned it. So it's good that we can reward young men for working hard.
What are you going to do to commemorate your 25th year of Oklahoma State football?
Me? Try to win games and have some fun. I thought about.
Are you aware of that milestone?
There's been times when I jog, and I'm miserable, and I've tried to think of things to overcome the time, and I start adding years up, and then I get delirious and can't add that high because I'm so tired from running. And I thought about buying some of that shampoo. You put in your hair and it washes the gray out, and that way I could. Not look gray-headed, and then people wouldn't think I'd been here 25 years.
25.
A long time.
Scheduling question. Would you rather be playing in December?
Regular season? There's 2 ways to look at that. When we have the open date over Thanksgiving and we play, I think it's good for our conference. I think it's good for the state. It makes for an interesting game, television, all those things. But it doesn't tie in with the NCAA's recruiting calendar. So if you just look at, they give us, let's just say 14 days to recruit prior to the dead period in December. And if you were selling a product to earn a living, vacuum cleaners, and you had to do that to pay the bills, and somebody came to you and said, listen, you only get 7 days. I know everybody else gets 14, but you only get 7 days to sell vacuum cleaners. It would concern you. You would want to be out selling every day. So that's really what happens, and that's the only way for me to answer that question is if they adjusted the recruiting calendar to fit championship games, other leagues, to fit what our league's trying to do, because I think that the Big 12 office is doing the right thing. It just doesn't fit the way the recruiting calendar is, and so the risk is not good because somebody's going and seeing those guys. That's a contact period. They're seeing them face to face, and we're not there unless we just decide we're going to go out and recruit and not get as prepared as we need to play for that game or be for that game. So it doesn't tie in. That's the only concern I have about it.
If the season goes really well and you're in the hunt for the college football playoff, you won't be able to sell yourself on December 6th or whatever.
Right. Yeah, it's that's what I'm saying. And I made this suggestion 3 years ago that they need to adjust the calendar based on what everybody's trying to accomplish. And there's obviously people higher up than me that don't see it that way. But why wouldn't you? Because the teams that are playing at that time shouldn't be cut out of recruiting because they're playing well and winning. And the second, other people will say, well, if you're winning, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it does matter. I mean, it's not as easy as you think. So they need to adjust that calendar to where it fits that weekend for everybody in the country and just make it set. And then I think that everybody would want to play it that weekend.
You sense any momentum for that?
I don't know, John, because I can't ever tell anymore what anybody's thinking. I don't know where suggestions come from, and it's just hard for me to tell out of those meetings exactly what all is going on.
Mike, when you sit down at your desk every day and get ready to start the day, do you have a major concern that just keeps cropping up, and are you willing to share that?
Concern with what? Well, I'm always concerned about depth at every position. I want us to be in a spot where guys can go out and play hard and stay healthy and not have to play young players like we did last year, because we want them to go out there and play when they're ready to play. Those are the only concerns I ever have. We have it really good around here. Our system and this place is set up for success. And you always worry about young people in the world today and what's going on. Those things cross my mind all the time, but that's part of what college is a time to make decisions and learn and make mistakes and correct them and keep moving forward. So do I have the concerns that I had when I started here 11 years ago? No, not anywhere near.
Mike, we saw on Twitter earlier today that Victor Irakanzi, if I'm saying that right.
Irakanzi. I just learned it a few days ago myself. It's difficult.
But he had sent out a message that because of health reasons that he had to give up football. Was that something that you were aware of? And when you hear news like that, I mean, that's got to be a kind of a tough blow.
Mm-hmm. Victor's had some unfortunate situations health-wise since he's been here. And it seemed like every time he'd get healthy, something would happen. And unfortunately, not everybody's made to play college football, and he is a really good person that's worked hard and rehabbed and gotten hurt and worked hard and came back and got hurt again. And I felt like that he was going to be out for the season, and so I was really aware of it. Had not been confirmed. I'm like you guys. I'm finding things out online now prior to actually getting the information, which is okay, I guess, as long as the information's accurate. But they must have notified him today. Is that when that came out? The doctors must have notified him, and so we'll put him on a medical scholarship, and he'll be able to graduate. In fact, I think he's going to graduate at the end of the year. But it's always tough when a young man gets injured and can't come back and play. Good? All right. It's an easy crowd.
Team back on the field, and we're excited to be out there. We got a good group. The energy level on the first day is always great, so make sure that continues on into preseason. Experience, you know, the senior class have played some of the best teams in the country and competed very well over the last 3 years. The juniors behind them as well. So there's a lot of players that will take the field for us that, you know, have played some huge games, have been in some really close Big 12.
Making sure these things are plugged in here. I don't.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. We're high tech. For any guys have jumped off the practice field at you, and you know, what everybody wants to know, who are the new guys that are going to help? You know?
I can address that.
I figured you could. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Okay.
9,
Sorry.
10.
It's all right. It's all about. Good evening, everyone, and we welcome you into the OSU Athletics Center at the home of historic Gallagher-Iba Arena. And today, OSU Football Media Days. I am Larry Reese, honored to be sitting here with the play-by-play voice of the Cowboys going into your 15th season. Does that seem possible?
I think that's right, yeah.
We
it
were
doesn't
talking,
seem possible.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yeah, it does. There's been such a great run. Obviously the most successful time in Oklahoma State football history, and sort of in a reloading phase now for the next couple of seasons, which could be really, really fun.
Well, our fan base loves Dave Hunziker. There's no doubt about that, and you've done an amazing job here in a tough situation coming in after, we lost Bill Tegans and all of those things, but you have just been the perfect fit and done an amazing job, and you've seen kind of a great rise in the program here at Oklahoma State.
I've been really lucky, and I think, there's a couple of things. First of all, winning helps.
Yes.
People are a lot more patient with a guy when they're winning.
No.
And that was true. And so that it's been, but just, I remember something Les Miles told me. I'd been here maybe 2 weeks. I got here August 1st before the 01 season, and Les and I went out to get something to eat just because we hadn't had a chance to talk.
Right.
And I said, what's your biggest challenge here? And he said, it's creating a winning mood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that culturally it's ever been a situation where in football people expected to win,
right,
and sort of understood that mentality. And you have to give him credit. He started that by, sort of bucking up to Oklahoma,
yes,
and really trying to hit OU in the mouth.
Our fan base loved that, and our student athletes believed in it.
And responded to it. And
yes,
so that's been lots of fun to experience that change with the fan base and see that culture change. And the results are obvious, but that piece of it, I'll never forget that conversation, as he didn't even hesitate. That was his answer, and look what's happened.
Well,
who would have imagined then we would be where we are now?
Yeah, and Les Miles does deserve a lot of credit. I mean, he brought the program up, and then Mike Gundy came back home or took over the reins and really has taken it to a new level. OSU football has never been on stable footing like it is now. 9 straight bowl seasons, it's unbelievable.
Well, for example, you look at the caliber of assistant coaches he's been able to bring in this year with all the losses he had. Dan Hammerschmidt's coached the National Football League. Of course, Coach Arroyo was calling plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a year ago. McIndoe, a very highly regarded coach from the FCS ranks. And then Coach Atkins has just been fantastic. And of course, he has an NFL pedigree and coached with Philip Fulmer at Tennessee. Yep. So that tells you a lot right there, that even some of those coaches were hired a little bit late, that you're able to go and get those caliber of coaches tells you exactly where you are. It tells you that people want to be here.
Athletics can be funny, and college football can be funny. And my example of that is 2 years ago, 10-3 season. You kind of limped to the finish line, a loss to in Bedlam and a loss in the Cotton Bowl, and it was like the sky was falling.
Yeah.
But last year, it felt like the sky was falling for a little bit, and Mason Rudolph comes in. The team, the offensive line gets a little healthier. Baylor looks better, and then the big win in Bedlam down at OU, and then the excitement of the Castleman game plan and everything at the Cactus Bowl. Now, after 7-6, there's so much optimism in the air. It's just kind of funny.
It is funny. When you're the youngest team in college football, I guess that happens, and that's where Oklahoma State was last year. But also, it tells you how much of this is mental. Yep. There is a lot of this that's mental, and when you're struggling offensively, that's the one thing I took away from last year that I think will always be wedged in my mind if I continue to do this for a living, is that when you're struggling offensively, that's the worst place you can be.
Right.
Because it is such a grind. The defense doesn't know if it's going to get any help, and in football, the defense doesn't score. I mean, if they gave you a point for a stop, that'd be different, but they don't. And so the defense grinds, the offense grinds, and it is a bad, bad place to be. And so Mason Rudolph comes in, you have a couple changes really by accident because of injury on the offensive line, that suddenly, the next thing you know, you have some young guys playing much better than anybody would have expected. And boom, there's this enormous change. But so much of it is mental, especially when you're struggling. Any change sometimes can trigger a tremendous change.
Mike Gundy admitted to me the other night at the Tulsa Caravan, we had a great event over there. Thank you to OSU Tulsa and all the folks that came out. But he admitted that this is the best depth he's had.
Yeah.
2 deep wise, some positions 3 and 4 deep. And that's a good thing going into the season. And last year, really, the offensive line struggled because of injuries and lack of depth. Linebacker was also a spot that we were thin because of injuries. Those 2 positions really are going to be strengths this year.
It's so funny, too, because I think back to last year, and you're watching preseason practice, you're thinking, if we get an injury here, we get an injury here, or here, or here, about 4 different positions, we've got problems.
Right.
And this year, that's not the case. It's totally different. More linebackers of quality than I've seen in my 15 years at Oklahoma State. It's not even close. Deeper at corner than we've ever been. And really, in our league, in the Big 12, you cannot have enough corners. It's like me playing golf. I compare it to golf balls. In the Big 12, corners are like golf balls. You can never have enough. You can never have too many because you just can't.
I sure can't have enough golf balls.
Yeah,
that's
me
for
either.
sure.
But it's a good thing. So yeah, it makes a big difference.
I can tell you're excited about this season. Our fan base is excited about this season. We're going to have many more interviews coming up. We're going to take just a short break, let you see a little video, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about another football here on campus in just a moment. So stick with us. OSU Football Media Days, more coming up right after this. All right. Come on, Courtney.
Towards the end of the summer, you're just dying to get your team back on the field, and we're excited to be out there. We got a good group. The energy level on the first day is always great, so they were getting after each other and competing, and our job now is just to make sure that continues on into preseason. Yeah, we got a lot of experience. The senior class have played some of the best teams in the country and competed very well over the last 3 years. The juniors behind them as well. So there's a lot of players that will take the field for us that, have played some huge games, have been in some really close Big 12 battles. We're ready. It's just a matter now of getting everybody sharp and on the same page and getting ready to play.
First day is always fun. Everyone's kind of flying around, getting the jitters out, but it's great to be back on the field with everyone and have the new players back. And feels good to be moving again. Our class has been here for a long time, and we haven't really necessarily won a Big 12 yet, and so we're all very determined to finally get a ring this year, hopefully, and I think everyone's on board with that, so I think we're all moving in the right direction.
You know, we're looking to contend for a Big 12 title this year, so we're trying to get the formation in, find the right people to fit in the right spots, and the biggest thing for us is working hard with each other this year and playing for each other and working as a unit, all 11, all 30 of us, whatever it is. We're all trying to achieve the same thing. Oh yeah, we've been the young team for 2-3 years now since I've been here, so we finally have a majority of juniors and seniors, and it's nice to have that leadership and that experience. You know, these girls, we've all played in tough games now. You show up, you put your uniform on, and you go out and get ready to fight any game, any team. So it's nice to have that experience and the players who know what to do in the tough situations and you know how to grit out a win.
When you only have a week, what you're hoping for is your kids come in fit, which I think we are. That way we can focus more on the ball work and the team. So first few days will be getting the rust out, getting lots of touches on the ball. Next few days kind of talking about our defense and how we want to put pressure on the ball and our defensive shape. And then we go into the SMU game, don't really work a whole lot on offense before that. But then you usually flip it around. Between SMU and Mercer, we'll start talking more about how we create chances and score goals, hopefully.
We welcome you back to OSU Football Media Days, and we've got two different kinds of footballs here. We brought the soccer ball on, and we're going to talk a little OSU soccer, and we've got Courtney DK, who's been a great representative of Oklahoma State, great player, two-time All-Big 12 forward for Coach Carmichael and the Cowgirls, and congratulations on your success here at Oklahoma State. But we want to start off by talking about the World Cup. You became the first Oklahoma State player to play in the World Cup and the first Oklahoman to do so. You've got to be proud of that. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Oh, it was definitely the best experience of my life, you know. Getting to play on the same field as players that I've grown up watching, you know, and watched all my life was just the best experience ever. It's something I'll never forget. And, you know, just growing from the teammates that I had, it's great. I still feel like it's kind of a dream, but
I can tell by your smile that you're still kind of giddy about the fact that you played in the FIFA World Cup, and, and we were all so proud of you and cheering you on. And you played for Nigeria. Both of your parents originally from Nigeria.
Yes.
Tell me how they came to the U.S. and how they came to settle down in Oklahoma.
Well, they just thought it was better for raising a family coming here. You know, they wanted a better life. So my mom played badminton actually, and she was really good. She was first in her state and third in Nigeria, but she gave that up to come here and raise our family with my dad. So that's how we got here.
That is awesome. So a great experience for you and great representation of Oklahoma State with Courtney DK. And preview the season coming up. You told me you feel good about this team.
Yes, definitely. We have a lot of, you know, we have a lot of upperclassmen this season that have a lot of experience. And we have a lot of good talent coming in as well. So I think, you know, combining the two, I think we'll do really well. We have a bright future for us this season.
Well, this is your junior season, and you tell me you feel like this is the best talent that you've had on this team since you've been at Oklahoma State.
Definitely.
So that's encouraging.
Yes.
So, and you start off next Friday.
Yes, next Friday.
We've got a home match here, so should be a lot of fun. Who do we have Friday? I didn't even look it up.
SMU.
SMU, I'm glad you knew. We'd have been in trouble. So, well, we wish you the best of luck, and just congratulations on all your success, and go out there and score some more goals. You've already scored 16 goals and 7 assists in 41 games at Oklahoma State, so keep that going,
yes,
all right?
Sir.
All right, congratulations, and good luck this season.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's Courtney DK. We're going to come back with more interviews here from OSU Football Media Days right after this.
Throws it deep down the far side. The pass is caught by David Glidden.
Play fake over the middle. The pass is caught.
Castleman takes a snap. He runs off left guard, pushing his way toward the end zone. He's in. Pistols firing.
This time they're throwing it back to the quarterback who's got blockers in front. There's a throw over the middle. He's got a man. And it's caught. One-handed touchdown catch.
It's amazing, so amazing, so amazing.
Washington nowhere to go.
It's amazing.
Rudolph over the top.
So amazing.
The pass is caught. And what a move by Brandon Shepard. He'll walk into the end zone. Touchdown.
And Rudolph's back to pass. Floats it out to the right flat. It's caught by Castleman at the 40. Lumbering down the right sideline. 45, 40, 35. Tackled at the 18-yard line. Oklahoma State captures the Cactus Bowl, a 30-22 victory over the Washington Huskies.
Good news, Cowboy fans, it is football season, and this guy's fired up about it just like you are. And we've got Kevin Peterson, a senior from Wagner, one of the true standouts on the Cowboy defense. And first of all, just tell everybody how practice is going so far.
Practice has been going really good. You know, it's been hot. Like I said, you check the heat index. I know everybody watches the news now, but it's been really good. You know, guys been flying around. Guys been really competing a lot for spots, so it's been fun.
It's got to help having the indoor practice facility, the Sherman Smith indoor practice facility. You guys can come in, get a little shade, and it feels like a big-time facility when you're in there too. So you've got to love having that at your fingertips.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, anytime you can get out of the sun and go inside to where it's a little air conditioning inside, it's a lot of fun. You know, we go inside, and that's where we do a lot of team things, do a lot of 7-on things like that. And we really get a chance to get our legs back, get our breath back, but all at the same time, it's a lot of fun being able to use the Sherman Smith indoor facility.
You bet. And you talked about guys flying around the ball. I've noticed that at a couple of practices that I've attended. The defense is really flying around, and it's because of guys like you in the defensive secondary. I mean, you got to feel pretty good when you've got quality depth at the corner position. That's so important. Talk about some of your cohorts at the corner position and the playmakers we're going to see this year.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, we got guys like Ashton Lampkin, who was down to injury last year. Ramon Richards, who stepped into the starting role after Ashton went down. Guys like Michael Hunter, who just transferred in from Indiana. Mike Tavius Jones, who's coming back this year. Chris Hardiman, who's a young guy. Darius Curry, who's a young guy. We have so much depth. It's really crazy. You go in the corner and we see all guys who have potential to start. So it's fun to be able to see us all compete at the same level, but at the same time, we're a family. We love each other. We joke around probably more than anybody on the team that you come in there and that you'll see. So it's a lot of fun to compete with those kind of guys, but at the same time, it's fun to be able to see we all have the opportunity to be starters.
Listen to all those names. Quality guys at the corner position. That's going to mean good news for Coach Spencer and the Cowboy defense. Talk about Coach Spencer's philosophy and what you guys want to do. I know you want to create turnovers. You stress that all the time, but talk a little bit about how he coaches this defense.
Coach Spencer's whole philosophy this year is we're taking it back, and that can mean anywhere to we're getting the ball back for the offense, or we're trying to get championships back that we did back in 2011. So, you know, we really preach championships a lot. We always talk about getting the ball back, be able to get the offense back, chances to score and things like that. And anytime we get the ball back from their offense to give it to our offense, no points on the board, going for our potential points for all on the board. So it's a lot of fun, and Coach Spencer just loves the game. You know, he loves the game just like we love it. He probably loves it a little more than some of the guys on our team. He's really excited. You know, you see pictures of him jumping up and jumping around with us after good plays to make on defense and stuff like that. So he really loves the game and he loves us, and we really preach that through ourselves and through our teammates.
We talked about the depth at the corner position, but really probably the best depth we've had under Mike Gundy's head coaching era here on the defensive side of the ball. So talk a little bit about those guys. I mean, last year the linebackers were depleted. This year it's really one of your strengths.
Oh yes, sir, definitely. We have Ron Simmons coming back. We have Seth Jacobs coming back. And we have a JUCO transfer, Jordan Burton, who's going to be really good for us throughout practice. You see those guys flying around, making plays, coaching some of the young guys who don't know what they're doing or who's trying to get a depth to what the complaints that thing is, and just really all the way down to the O-line. You know, we have big Emmanuel Ogba. I know you hear his name all the time. Emmanuel Ogba, Jimmy Bean, guys like Vincent Taylor, Trace Clark, Eric Davis, just countless guys that can make plays for us now. They're really showing competitiveness and really want to get back on the field.
That's awesome. Your senior season, can you believe it?
I only think of my senior season when people ask me, how do you feel it's your senior season? I don't know. Every time somebody asks me, I got to rethink and go back in my mind.
Has it kind of flown by for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Me and Ashley were just talking about walking on the way over here. I remember this whole media day things like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
It really was almost 3-4 years ago. So it's a lot of fun to be able to see the growth and the maturity that you go over the years at being in Oklahoma State.
Well, we're looking for a lot of leadership out of you and a lot of INTs. Let's get some pick sixes this year and have some fun on the defensive side of the ball. Good luck in your senior year.
Thank you. That's the plan. Yes, sir.
All right. That's Kevin Peterson, one of the Cowboys you're truly proud of out there. He's going to be a great leader for us. And we're going to come back and talk more at OSU Football Media Days in just a moment. We've got Football 101 for women. We've got a little video you're going to want to check out. It's a great program. You ladies that haven't been a part of it, you need to. And you guys that are watching, you need to send your ladies up here because they will love it. So check it out. We'll be right back.
We're going to work on a 3-step drop, rapid fire. We're going to have them all ready for you. Go to the bucket. Oh. I got to hear some more.
We welcome you back to the OSU Athletic Center. We're in the auxiliary gym here, and we are talking a little OSU football today. It's OSU Football Media Days. I've been to a few practices. I've got my blood pumping for football. I know you do as well, and we've got a great OSU story here. Got Brad Lundblade here from Argyle, Texas, went to Liberty Christian High School, and you're really a tremendous story. I mean, first of all, tell our OSU faithful out there how you got to Oklahoma State. What brought you here?
Well, you know, coming out of high school, I had 11 Division I offers, you know, kind of some smaller schools. You know, they were all Division I, though. You know, I took some visits to those schools and, you know, really looked around a lot and, you know, thought long and hard about where I wanted to go. And I'd made a few visits to Stillwater and really just fell in love with it, but I never got an offer or anything. And, you know, so as it got closer to signing day, I kind of realized that, you know, I probably wasn't going to get an offer. And then, you know, my parents and I kind of started talking about, you know, well, you know, maybe I could possibly walk on. And and so ultimately that's, you know, we talked about it a lot, and that's ultimately what I ended up doing.
So you walked on last year as a true freshman, and then you're thrown into the fire. I mean, talk about that. I mean, that had to be a little bit eye-opening for you, but you handled it like a champion.
Yeah, you know, it was definitely a big step. You know, my first game was against TCU. It was at TCU, and you know, 2 weeks before that, I was on scout team, and you know, hardly getting any reps in practice and stuff like that. And so it was, you know, it was a little overwhelming at first, but you know, the coaches did a great job of, you know, helping get me prepared and everything, and you know, ultimately putting me in a position to have success on the field.
We've had some great walk-ons that have had success here at Oklahoma State. Two that come to mind in recent years: Dan Bailey, who's Mr. Automatic in the NFL for the Dallas Cowboys; Brandon Whedon with the Dallas Cowboys. We've had so many good ones out there. Now you're one of those success stories. So big news came last week in front of your team and everybody. They announced that you're on scholarship. Tell us about that feeling when that announcement was made.
Yeah, it was an amazing feeling, you know, just, you know, after, you know, being here a year and working hard every day, you know, obviously coming in and walking on, that was, you know, one of my goals. I wanted to do that for my parents, you know, to get a scholarship for them. So it was just, really a great feeling, having Coach Gundy announce my name and, Blake Jarwin and Chad Whitener's names. Yeah. It was a great feeling for all of us, and, being able to stand up there on that stage and just kind of, breathe that sigh of relief to know that, we finally earned the scholarship was a great feeling.
Well, and last year the offensive line was so depleted, and injuries were a part of that, and then all of a sudden you're thrown in the fire like we talked about as a true freshman. This year it looks like there's some really solid depth there. Talk about that offensive line and how you feel that unit's going to perform.
Yeah, I think we're looking pretty good this year. Like you said, last year we were kind of young and inexperienced, as a result of injuries and some other things like that. But, I think ultimately that ended up helping us because now going into this year, we have multiple guys who have a lot of game time experience now, and so I think that'll really help us out this season.
All right, I think offensive line will be one of the strengths for Coach Gundy and the Cowboys this year, and this guy's a big part of it. He's starting at center and doing a great job, and we're so proud of you, and congratulations on the scholarship.
Thank you.
Best of luck this season, all right?
Thank you.
That's Brad Lundblade, a great OSU story, and we're going to come back with more from OSU Football Media Days in just a moment. I think we're going to walk-on scholarships. How do we do that? That's like perfect timing. We'll be right back after this.
We have a long history here with walk-ons. You guys see this wall out here that's got all the walk-ons that have come through here for a long time. Walk-ons have always been special to our coaching staff and myself because you guys know how I feel about it. Walk-ons have always had a special place in my heart because they're willing to say, you know what? I'm going to find a way to pay for school. I'm going to find a way to eat, even though now we get to eat. I'm going to find somewhere to live. I'm going to get to practice on time. I'm going to be at meetings. I may have to work some in the summer, but I'm going to do it because I love football. All right? And I want these three guys to come up here, and you guys can give them a hand. Blake Jarwin, Brad Lundblade, and Chad Whitener. You guys can come up. These guys, and Chad obviously transferred in and was at the Cal, but came in and paid his own way. And then, Lundblad comes in, competes as a freshman at an offensive line position. He's way undersized. He looks a lot better now. And Jarwin looked like me when he got here. And look at him. So there's other guys out there. There's other guys in this program that are close to being in that position. But I just wanted to bring these guys up here and tell them how much we appreciate their contribution to Oklahoma State football, and they should be very proud, okay? All right, guys, you can go sit down. Good job.
Welcome back, everyone, OSU Football Media Days, and I am honored and intimidated to have this big man next to me. I threatened to do a few push-ups because I don't feel like I'm bulging like you are, big man, but it wouldn't work anyway. But so proud to have you here and proud to have you at Oklahoma State. We're all proud of your success through the last couple of years, and that's Emmanuel Ogba. He was the Defensive Lineman of the Year in the Big 12 Conference last year. Congratulations on that award.
Thank you, sir.
We're looking for big things out of you. So tell us, how has practice been going so far?
I mean, practice has been going good. We have guys stepping up. stepping up to their role. We have younger guys and all that just doing their thing. So it's going pretty good.
Do you have goals for yourself that you set this season? Like, I want to have this, this number of sacks. Or are you that kind of guy? I'm just asking off the cuff. Do you try to do that, or you say, hey, this is a team game, and I just want to do whatever we need to do to win?
Yeah, that's how I see it. I see it's a team game. I'll do my very best to be best for the team. So I feel like I'm the kind of guy that just go out there and do the best I can. Just help my teammates. I could pressure the pass so they could throw an interception for guys like Kevin Peterson, Ramon Richards, and Ashton Lampkin.
You bet. So you're just the disruptor. You're just ready to disrupt.
Yes, sir.
Go get it. So, so talk about this defense. We've talked a little bit in a couple of other interviews that this is probably the best depth we've ever had on defense, at least under Coach Gundy.
Yes,
and that's got to do nothing but help you. But we've got, 4 quality corners, maybe even deeper than that. You've got a linebacking core that's healthy again, unlike last year. So just talk about this defensive unit and what your expectations are.
I mean, we have a good defense coming back. We have. We have a lot of guys that they're stepping into their roles and doing their thing. We have guys like Ron Simmons, the leader of the defense, so more experience. He knows everything that's going on and all that. We need guys like him to depend on him, stuff like that. And I have to step up and be a big role because I kind of lead by. I'm not a spoken leader, but I lead by example. So,
right.
Yeah,
that's the best kind of leader.
Yes, sir.
It really is.
Yes, sir. So I kind of talk to guys. I have to step up and talk to them now and just mentor the young guys. So.
Yeah, you bet. You got to be a leader. And your junior season, has it kind of flown by for you here at Oklahoma State?
Yeah, it's it's going to my junior year on the field, so it kind of has flown by. The offseason flown by real fast. I didn't expect. We have a month away to the first game, so it went by real fast. So
yeah, you bet. Well, you get to go up against this offense every day in practice. Probably before too long, you'll be getting tired of each other. But tell our fans what you see when you watch Mason Rudolph and you watch these receivers and this offensive line that's healthy and deeper than it has been. Talk about the guys on the other side of the ball and what our fans can expect.
We have a more experienced offensive line. They're ready. They're there. They're gonna play good. We have Mason. Mason is the best poised quarterback I've seen since I've been here. And he's actually stepped up to his role. He kind of leads the team now. I've seen him do checks that I haven't seen him done before. He goes and checks. If he reads the defense or blitzing something, he goes and checks it and all that. That's really impressive for a guy his age. So.
What have you seen out of the running backs? Everybody's wondering about Chris Carson. Rennie Childs. We know that he can really hit the open field. So what do you see in the running backs?
I see we have 2 great running backs. We have Rennie and we have Chris Carson. They're both going to be great for us. They both take the same amount of reps during practice. So we're just going to see who wanted more. So
all right, you got a great smile. You do a great job for Oklahoma State. You're a great representative, and I think I'd be remiss if I didn't try to get you to commit to 1 more year. 1 more year. Can we get you to sign that on the dotted line on that? I'm just kidding you. We know we're going to see you play on Sundays, and we just look for a big junior year out of you. So good luck.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that's
Thank
Emmanuel Ogba joining us here on OSU Football Media Days. We're going to show you a little bit of the first football practice. So stay tuned, and we'll be back with more interviews right after this. And we welcome you back and thank you for joining us. We know you're all ready for Cowboy football. We've been talking linebackers, so why not talk to one of the linebackers? And he is a sophomore, transferred in from Cal Berkeley, looking for big things out of Chad Whitener. And Chad, first of all, congratulations. You were one of the guys we talked about earlier with Brad Lindblade, one of the 3 guys that got awarded for your hard work and got a scholarship. Tell us about that moment when they announced that. That had to feel really good.
Well, thank you for the congratulations, but it felt incredible. It was something that I didn't know was going to happen. I knew probably in the spring I was for sure going to be on, but as far as this semester, I had no idea. Right. So sitting in the meeting, just started hearing him start talking about walk-ons. I honestly thought about Jarwin and Lundblade first because they've actually played here.
Right.
So whenever he said my name too, I was just I was taken aback.
Yeah.
So it was a great feeling too.
You know, the coaches have all said that is basically the best moment for them in coaching is when they get to award guys that have worked so hard in practice that have just been walk-ons and had to pay their own way. Coach Gundy and Coach Yurcich both have mentioned in the last few days how that's really a highlight for them. So that's got to make you feel good too.
Yes, sir, it does. It really just makes all the hard work and just having gone from playing as a true freshman at Berkeley to coming here and having to sit out a whole year, it really just makes all that hard work as far as being a red shirt and everything worth it. So it was great.
Tell our people how you got to Oklahoma State, because you were at Cal Berkeley, you decided to transfer in, you're a Texas kid, so tell us about that journey.
Well, I got recruited originally by Coach Tedford, and I went out there and Sonny Dykes was the head coach, went out, played. Really didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy myself as far as the culture and everything, and I didn't feel like I was developing as a football player, as a person, as good as I could be.
Right.
So I made a decision to transfer after that first season, and I couldn't leave because of the whole transfer rule if I would have lost a year of eligibility. So I stayed out there, got in contact with Coach Spencer through Coach Wickline, and then came out and visited during spring break, loved it, and then I made my decision to come here and show up in summer and work my butt off.
And the rest is history. You got that scholarship. So talk about your linebacking teammates, because this is really considered one of the strengths for the Cowboys after last year having so many injuries, and you had transferred in, so you weren't even eligible to play last year,
yes,
right?
Sir.
So you could have really helped us last year. But talk about the depth at linebacker.
It's incredible. It's not only that we have a lot of depth. We have a lot of chemistry within the linebacking room. We all crack jokes on each other, but it's all in good fun. And as far as talent-wise, we all really push each other to be better. Like if you watch film, like somebody that was behind you, they're really making gains towards you, or someone in front of you, like you feel like you can catch them at the same time. So, it's really competitive, and it's really pushing everybody to be better.
What position are you playing at linebacker?
Middle.
Middle linebacker.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do you enjoy Coach Spencer's scheme right now? Are you excited about what's coming up this season?
It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun scheme to play in.
That's great.
Yes,
I like
sir.
how your face lights up when you say that. So good. We look for big things out of you. Again, congratulations on earning that scholarship. We're glad you're at Oklahoma State. You look good in orange, by the way.
I feel great in orange.
Let's have some fun this year.
Yes,
Good
sir.
luck.
Thank you.
All right, that's Chad Widener, one of our linebackers, one of the really deep spots on this Cowboy team. We're going to come back with more from OSU Football Media Day. We've got a season ticket promo for you. If you don't have a season ticket yet, you need to get them. Come on, it's Cowboy football season. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to OSU Football Media Days. I requested this guy. I had to have Austin Hayes, one of your great Cowboy receivers. And Austin, I'm just happy that you're healthy. You know, let's talk a little bit about, you've been fighting through the injury bug, seems like forever here, and we finally got you healthy. So first of all, how frustrating is it when you're dinged up a little bit and you can't get on the field? That's got to be hard.
Yeah, the hardest part is just not being out there with your friends. You know, they get to get on the plane and go play in all the big stadiums and play in Big 12 games, and you know I got to watch them on TV. I think that's the biggest thing, just not being able to be out there with them. And it sucks, you know, just not being a part of the daily routine. You're kind of on your own schedule when you're hurt. Right. More time in the training room, less time, you know, in the weight room doing all the actual lifts that the real team's doing, and I'm kind of just doing my own thing.
It's got to be hard too when you had early success and then you get dinged up and you miss so much action, but now you're healthy and you look good out there. I've seen a couple of practices and you grin a little bit when I say that, but you got to feel good. I mean, tell me, do you feel good?
I feel good. I feel good. I was telling somebody else I haven't had anything wrong since January.
Okay.
So I've been healthy all the way through off season, spring ball, summer workouts, and now camp. So I'm really excited.
Talk about the wide receiver crew here. We've got a really good core group and some real playmakers. So there's a lot of depth at receiver for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, we have a lot of depth and a lot of guys that are getting older now. Marcel's a junior, and I think everybody expects him to have a big year. We saw in the last 2 games what Brandon's capable of.
Right.
David was, you know, the most consistent guy all year last year. He's coming back, and then, you know, 2 years ago it was Jawan's show.
Right.
You know, and we got a new kid, Jalen McCluskey, who's had a really good camp so far. I think he's going to be good too.
Yeah, I hear he might be a return guy possibly is what they're kind of floating out there. And I don't even think we mentioned James Washington. He's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, James, yeah.
Yeah, we can't
forgot about James.
He did a pretty good
James
job last
year.
year.
James is very good, yeah.
Yeah, so do you guys a tight-knit group? Do you guys pull for each other?
Yes, we do.
Even with the competition?
Yes, we do. We're very, very tight. There's never any, you know, hard feelings or anything like that. It's just competition when we're out there, and even then it's a lot more laugh and good times than it is, you know, crying and this and that. So it's really fun to be a part of.
I know you're really tight with J.W. Walsh. I see you guys out and about a lot, and you know, he's I think a lot of our fans just love J.W. And the fact that he has stuck it out. You know, I think he feels like he's a Cowboy. This is home. But with the transfer rule, you know, he could have gone somewhere else and tried to secure more playing time. But he said, no, I'm a Cowboy. I'm going to stay right here. And, boy, that means a lot to this team, to have a guy like that as the backup. Also a guy that can come in on short yardage, a guy that can come in certain packages. But just talk about your buddy J-Dub and what a leader he is.
Well, I just think the perception that everybody has of him, he just proved that that's correct. Everybody knows he's a great guy, but to us, you know, he's you know, one of the biggest leaders on the team, and if he were to choose to go somewhere else, I mean, that would be detrimental to, you know, us, because there's just something about him. He knows how to lead. He's just got that thing inside of him, and he just gets it, and people follow him. So, you know, it's awesome that he stuck it out. I think it just shows what a great teammate he is, and a great guy, and he's one of my best friends, obviously. So I'm glad he stayed.
Do you ever get tired of him when you're running sprints? Because he's like the Energizer Bunny. The guy never slows down, right?
Well, I mean, I don't have to run against him. He's considered big skill. So he runs with the big skill group and just leaves all them in the dust, and but runs it at skill time or faster.
Right.
So, you know, Coach Glass will give him 60 seconds, he'll run it in 50, whereas everybody else, you know, 58, 59.
Right,
and,
right.
You know,
So he's got it
doesn't
pretty
apply
good,
to
what you're
J-Dub.
saying.
Yeah,
I got
he
you.
gets it. Yeah.
I got you. Well, you know, Coach Gundy says you can win a lot of games with J.W. Walsh, and he can win a lot of games with Mason Rudolph. So we're fortunate at Oklahoma State to have that kind of depth. But we talked about J.W. a little bit. Talk about Mason and what he brings to this team.
He's got a gun. He can cover. You can play the whole field with him because he's just got a monster arm, and he just gets how to, you know, stand in the pocket and deliver the ball. You know, that's just something that's kind of hard to find, really. A guy that's just, I mean, weighs 230 pounds. He's 6'4", and he knows what people are doing, and he throws it to where they're not. And you can be pretty good when you don't turn the ball over. and throw it all over the field.
Well, I'm so glad you're healthy and back, and I just want you to have a great season.
I appreciate it very much.
All right, Austin
Absolutely.
Hayes, everybody.
Thank you.
One of your Cowboy receivers. Look for big things out of him this year, and it's going to be a fun year. So we want you on board. Make sure you get those season tickets. We showed you that a minute ago. We've got another video for you. It's called the GPS Tracker, Strength and Conditioning. It's a Rob Glass thing. You're going to want to see it. We'll be back right after this.
Staying on the cutting edge, something that's kind of risen to the surface now is the GPS tracking of the athletes, and to understand the stresses and the demands that their bodies are going through whether it's a training session with us or whether it's even at practice or even during a game. So with the GPS system in place, we're able to monitor each athlete individually. Maybe we may find that somebody's not performing as well this Saturday as maybe they have in previous Saturdays, and we can go back and look at the data and maybe isolate or find a reason for that during the week. Maybe he got too much volume during practice and then he wasn't able to recover properly before Saturday. So we can also measure through that GPS acceleration rate, deceleration rate, maximum velocity, overall distance traveled in a practice.
What it allows us to do is have some science-based evidence to be able to see the performance of the guys. Biggest benefits of this is being able to reduce the chances of injuries due to overtraining, as well as helping us develop a plan that helps each individual athlete reach his optimal performance levels.
Essentially, we have a little chip that goes in the athlete's shirt or in their shoulder pads if we're practicing, and that tracks each athlete with that chip and able to give us the information. But the big thing for me was we wanted to have somebody on site that could collect that information, and Anthony Hibbert, one of our strength coaches, is dedicated to that component, and he oversees the tracking and the measuring of the athlete's volume, workload, and all the components that come with that.
We have the ability to be able to do live sessions, which is at that moment when they're performing, be able to track the data. We have an antenna that we can be able to bring out there. We can be able to, at that very moment, see on the laptop, see what the guys are doing and how they're performing.
The information essentially goes from the downloading of the chip into the computer, and Anthony going through the system and creating the charts, and then we take those charts to the coaches, and they're able to kind of disseminate from there how they'd like to maybe adjust or move practice around depending on how the athletes are responding.
All right, we're sticking with the receiver theme here. We go from Austin Hayes to his good buddy David Glidden. And David, out of Mustang, Oklahoma, one of the true playmakers for Coach Gundy and the Cowboys. And First thing I got to say is going into your senior season. I mean, is it surreal to you?
It really is. I've told a few guys, and I actually addressed it to the team whenever I spoke to the team a couple days ago, that this time flies by. You won't believe it until it actually happens to you, and that's what the older guys said to us, when we were younger. But it really is. It's so surreal, and this time it's flown by. But I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity that Oklahoma State's given me.
J-Dub told me the other day when I ran into him that he's just trying to soak it all up. Are you doing the same thing?
Oh, every single moment. Yeah, like this moment right here, all of it. And picture day out there, fan day today, all those times with your teammates, guys they're out there groaning and moaning about it being hot, taking pictures, and but you're sitting there trying to tell them, man, these opportunities, they're going to go a lot faster than you think, and there's only so many of them. So try to take them in, because you don't want to take them for granted.
You're kind of a mighty might. I hope you don't mind me, using that term. But who do you try to emulate? I mean, who have you watched? I mean, I'm assuming maybe a Wes Welker. I mean, you tell me, who do you really look up to in the when you watch football?
There's always been a few guys, but mainly Wes Welker was one growing up for sure, and especially him being from Oklahoma City,
right,
my hometown, and Josh Cooper for one too. Obviously played here, played in the NFL. From my high school, I'd be crazy not to look up to him, But now, as of late, I look at guys like Cole Beasley, watch film on him, Julian Edelman, all guys of a similar stature, and so. I try to take bits and pieces from everybody, learn from everybody that I can, but those two main guys was definitely Welker and Josh Cooper.
Well, when I thought of this question earlier today, if I got a chance to interview you, those are the four guys I thought of. So that's funny.
Really?
But was Josh Cooper one of the reasons you decided to come to Oklahoma State? Tell us about that. How did you make the decision to wear the bright orange?
Well, honestly, the decision to come here is probably one of the easiest decisions I've ever made. I grew up OSU fan, diehard Poke. My family is big time Cowboys, and so I was born into it. And the day I received the offer here, it was so easy for me to make that decision. I honestly wanted to tell Gundy right then when I was sitting in his office that I'll play for you, absolutely. But my dad wasn't there that day, and so I went home that night, talked to him, and his eyes just lit up, and when he found out. So I called him the next day and told him. That's when I actually committed. But the opportunity to come here was incredible, and I actually did have a relationship with Josh Cooper, and so when he was up here, when I did actually commit, it kind of gave me a sense of comfort, just somebody to kind of look up to. And when I was up here, he would kind of show me around the facilities a little more than you got to just on the recruiting trip, and so he kind of he had a little influence as far as my comfort level in Stillwater.
Sure.
But as far as me making my decision, I knew where I wanted to be my whole life.
That's awesome. I love that. So being a guy that's been here since 1989, I love that answer right there, because I bleed the orange just like you do. With this helmet sitting here, I've got to ask you this question. Last year wasn't going real well. Mason comes in late, with J-Dub's injury and everything. Mason ends up coming in late, and Baylor game looks better, and then obviously the big win against OU. First of all, that had to be a thrill right there.
Absolutely. I honestly, I just got chills.
I did too.
At Media Day a couple weeks ago in Dallas, I got asked about that question about Bedlam, obviously, and almost every single time they asked me about it, and they tell me to take them through a moment or something, and it sent chills up my body. And just, as everyone knows, we have a lot of out-of-state guys, Texas guys on this roster, and kind of what I think you were hinting at as far as me being a home guy, Oklahoma guy. Man, and the way where I grew up is just I feel like it was Sooners everywhere I grew up.
Right.
Everybody was an OU fan.
You can't get away from
it. I won't go any more on that, but that's, you hit it. And so, gosh, I remember one of my best friends was growing up. We were OSU fans, and I felt like we were the only two in the school,
Right.
And so those moments when we won Bedlam in 01, 02, those years, I'll never forget those. And then to be a part of it last year and my freshman year here, really when we won the Big 12 championship, those are things that those will never slip my memory.
Yeah, that'll never leave you. But the reason I pointed to this helmet is the next game, Coach Gundy comes up with, and Coach Yersic's, the James Castleman game plan.
Yeah.
So to me, it looked like, and I was going through my cancer scare at that moment, so I actually didn't make it to the bowl, but I was tuned in watching every play. That was about as exciting a football game as I've ever watched. And to me, it looked like you guys were so fired up to play. Did that game plan maybe get you guys a little more excited? Even though it's a Cactus Bowl, it wasn't the
Yeah.
national championship game. It was just kind of fun knowing that James may come in and you guys had a little bit of trickery up your
Right.
sleeves, and it just looked like you guys were really ready to play that game.
All right. Well, first off, to say that we're glad to have you back and where
Well,
you're
thank
at
you.
and,
I
and through your
appreciate
battle
that.
and everything. We
Thank you.
so glad to have you back. And but yeah, you hit it perfectly. I mean, it was just we called it a winter camp of what we went through, the preparation for the bowl game. Gundy actually started calling it a winter camp because we were in there, we were grinding, you know, we were practicing hard and trying to take advantage of every practice. But at the same time, the mood was light and guys were in there, we were battling, we were fighting and trying to get better. But you hit it with the whole Castleman package and all that. You know, we're out there having fun too,
Right.
and guys are out there
like it.
one-on-one and all that stuff in practice. It just led up perfectly to the game. And then once the game time hit, we just went out there flying around. Everyone's having a good time. The excitement on the sideline was so much higher that game,
Yeah.
and I can't even explain it. You could probably ask any of the coaches, strength coaches, anybody. That game, I think the strength coaches had probably the hardest time that game of all year, even probably over Bedlam, of keeping guys back because that's their jobs on the sideline. You know, is keeping the players
The
back.
get-back coaches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
what everybody knows them as. And so, gosh, it was just that atmosphere and to have the support of all the people, the Cowboy fans that came out there to travel all the way to Arizona for the Cactus Bowl. Like you said, not the national championship, but the support we had out there for that game was it was incredible. And so. It was a lot of fun, and it was an honor to be a part of that.
Well, and you could see the excitement even from my living room. I'm telling you, that's why I asked the question. But it really saved the season, and there's so much optimism in the air. So you've got to love that. Your senior year, things are looking up for the Cowboys, and you guys have a legitimate chance. I think you feel this way.
Absolutely.
You have a legitimate chance to battle for the Big 12 title.
Oh, absolutely. We're very confident in what we have. As you said, the momentum coming into this year off that. It's great when you can build off of that, you know. And as I said before, you get those extra practices. It only makes guys better, you know. It's instead of being at home, maybe lifting some weights, we're in there battling with each other every day in the winter. And so the confidence we carried over from all that in the spring and everything now is the intensity's high, and we got a lot of expectations for ourselves internally in the program.
Well, you're a Cowboy senior, so I'm going to put you on the spot because you've got to be a leader. All right, I want you to look in the camera, and I want you to tell the fans why they need to get their season tickets and why they should be in their seat to watch this Cowboy team.
You guys need to get their season tickets right now. I kid you not, this is going to be the most exciting year of Cowboy football that you all have ever seen. I know we've had Barry Sanders, we had a Fiesta Bowl victory, but this year right here is going to be something special. Mark my word.
I love it. This guy's a natural salesman. That's great. You know, one thing you got to be grateful for is James Castleman's out of eligibility because I think he might have been slotted at inside receiver after the success of that game, right?
That's crazy,
you're
yeah.
glad he's a senior
That's
and out of here, right?
I told him, I said, man, you took away some of my catches that game.
I knew it.
But no, he's a good buddy of mine. I was so happy to see that happen for him that game.
Yeah, the check engine light came on.
It
It's the quote
absolutely
of the year.
did.
Yeah, that's awesome. David, congratulations on what you've done so
Thank
far
you.
here at Oklahoma State,
Thank you.
and have a great senior year.
Thank you
All
so
right?
much.
That's David Glidden. Look for big things out of him and big things out of the Cowboys this year. And we want you to be here for all of it. David just gave us the best sales pitch he could. But get your season tickets, get your popcorn ready, and get in your seat because these Cowboys are going to be a lot of fun to watch on both sides of the ball, and it should be one of the best seasons you've seen of Cowboy football. We want you here. We want you on the road as well. So be a part of Cowboy football and David Glidden's senior season, and we look forward to seeing you in Stillwater. It's right around the corner. It's Cowboy football season. Thanks for joining us for OSU Football Media Days, and we'll see you down the road in Boone Pickens Stadium.